here's a question for you.
No, he's hit just the classic Pegger
Do
intro.
you know
straight in.
anybody who's ever bought something from Wish? Like, do you?
It's not such a
Or
thing
have
in
you?
Germany. No, it's not a thing in Germany at all. Wish? I don't think so.
But do you know anybody who has?
No. I mean, I don't talk about that type of stuff.
It seems like a scam.
Yeah, I mean, I just know it through memes, and every meme is like when you order like fucking the Joker on Wish. It's just some bullshit thing. So
Okay.
apparently it's bullshit stuff all the time.
But you see the craziest shit being sold for the craziest low prices of all time.
But that stuff's been intriguing forever. You know, like when I was young, they had the like as seen on TV stores and shit that had like the toilet golf putting green and shit. You know,
But it's not.
I love
it's
that
false
weird stuff.
It's not legal to say like, here's your MacBook for
Yeah.
20 euros.
Yeah.
And not sell one for 20 euros, right?
They must be blown the fuck up though at the moment because these Corona purchases. You made any quarantine purchases? Unnecessary things?
I built my beer machine.
Yeah, I mean that's basically a version of it because you bought pipes and shit for that.
Oh yeah, I bought all kinds of shit for that.
Yeah,
Bought a CO2
I basically did
canister.
I basically did my first one because I think I talked about before. I built the standing desk and everything, but that was like had a real practical reason, you know. But I bought a robot vac, man.
I'll never go back.
It's so good. Did you name yours?
I'll never go back from the robot vac.
Noise. Did you got to name it though?
Roomba Pegger's all that
really?
it's called. We
Okay.
didn't name it.
My-
Should we name it?
Yeah. You normally have to give a name. Mine is Dirt Reynolds. And so you got to give it. You want to come up with one right now? We can come up with one.
Why don't you? Because you're better at that than I am.
Okay, dirt, Staub, dust, dust of rhymes.
How do you do it?
I don't know. You just got to think of a word.
Dust
and
rhymes.
Yeah, that's
Write
the name
it
of
down.
it.
That's
Yeah, you'll remember. All right. Yeah, Dirt Reynolds and Dust of Rhymes, dude. You got to name it something. Yeah.
That's really, really good. How do you fucking do that? You've got such a talent
Yeah.
for just. You could have been on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
You could have been on American Idol.
Whose Line Is It Anyway? It's a great show, dude.
Yeah, but that's another level. Those guys are goddamn fucking pros, man.
Those guys are
I
fucking
actually,
pros.
it's funny you bring up Whose Line Is It Anyway. I started rewatching it the other day. Yeah, it's good shit.
There's some really good shit.
Yeah, but some of the jokes these days, you're like,
Oh, no.
"Oi!" You know.
No, I mean this. It's canceled as fuck.
Oh yeah, it would have been fucking canceled, dude. But
Dude, I saw.
yeah. Sorry, hold on, wait, real quick.
go ahead.
This is your podcast for Saturday, what, the 13th?
Yeah, the 13th. I
Saturday?
think. Yeah, the 13th.
The 13th.
Wait. Is that right? Yeah, the 13th.
What month is it? March?
March.
Saturday, March 13th.
We
This is
have
your
no
podcast.
fucking idea what's going
2021.
on.
How the fuck are you doing? We hope you guys are well. We're back at it. Did you want to say something? You forget?
I can't fucking remember.
Okay. This is this is a weird time to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to plug our live stream, which when you hear this, the live stream will be coming out tomorrow,
Right.
Sunday,
Right.
the 14th, 8 p.m. Berlin time. So if you hear this podcast, and I will be looking all day Saturday and all day Sunday for new sponsors, and we won't announce you till the next podcast, but if you join today or tomorrow, you can still get access to the live stream.
Or
and
the day
chat
after.
with us.
On Sunday also.
That's what I mean. Today's Saturday.
Today's
or tomorrow.
Oh,
Sunday.
today you're speaking
Yeah.
future talk. That's
Yeah, because we're recording today's Thursday.
that's
but
out of my league, dude.
I'm trying to do
That's
it.
way out of my league.
Man, are we trying a beer today, or are we just gonna do these ones?
We can try a beer. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know. What'd you say?
I said, sure, we can try a beer. That sounds like a good idea.
Oh, jeez.
That was bad.
That's some Pittsburgh stuff. Yeah, man, I haven't had the old craft beer in a while. Things are, man, you got your haircut. I got to get a haircut.
Yeah, they opened back up.
Things are opening back up here.
As soon as I could.
Today's going to be kind of an old school episode. My computer is busy doing some work at my apartment. I'm rendering some stuff, so I can't unplug it. I usually bring my laptop here, and so we're using the old one. And this laptop, it's an American laptop, which means it's at least 10 years old. I'm pretty sure this is the laptop I brought with me to Germany. Thing's a goddamn trooper. We gave this thing a shout out on the last episode. This thing, I'm not going to jinx it. I don't want to talk about it, but I don't know. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this thing because I don't trust this piece of shit. But what are you doing over there, man? You hear this guy thumping around in the background. Yeah, we're working through this craft brew thing. Here, give me the read thing. I want to read.
Before you do that, though, explain to people
Yeah.
who might not know what rendering is, what it
Rendering.
You
Yeah,
take for granted that people know these terms because you lived with them. You live with them every day now. They're like ghosts floating around you. But a lot of people don't know what that is.
Yeah, when you edit videos, you put it into your software, and then you're gonna like resize it or something like that. You're gonna do color grading, so you're gonna change like the tone or the lighting on people's faces or their clothing, or there's some shit going on in the background. You're gonna like edit that out or whatever. You're gonna put transitions, fades. You're gonna put effects in and this type of stuff. You're gonna be blending in PowerPoint presentations, animations, and so when you're doing this, we forget sometimes that film is just fucking pictures, and so if you're filming it in Europe, it's 25 and 50 frames per second. In the States, that'd be like 30 and 60. But that's basically 50 photos a second.
Yeah.
That you've like fucking like done a bunch of changes to. And so this video I'm doing now is an hour long. And so usually if with a lot of color grading and stuff, that's going to take like 5 hours because it's something like 65,000 frames or something like that for a 40-minute video at 25 frames a second. But if you're also doing like denoise and all these more advanced algorithms, then it can take up to days. And what I'm doing now is it's like a 4-day render time.
Oh my God.
Some shit. So it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. So with the old one, all right. So
shake the hand of a video person that does your like recital video or something.
Yeah.
Going through some shit.
That's the thing is like people are always like, how long is this gonna take? And I'm like, work wise, 30 minutes, but render wise, 2 days.
Right.
Because sometimes it's just like drag and drop render. Like if you want to these days, if you want to upscale something, so you have like a shit video and you want to upscale it to 4K. There's algorithms, there's software you can buy that's just like click, drop, go, and it's just like, 5 days.
Nice.
So it's like work-wise, it's nothing, but it's like, look, man, we can't rush the render.
I have never, like,
which one is that?
This is the
I want to look it up.
Roundhouse kick.
Roundhouse. Okay. Should I give it the read?
Give it the read.
All right. Where? It's on your dick. Okay. I couldn't find the beer. You tucked it right in there like a fucking father penguin. He's got it nestled under his ball sack like yeah, you ever seen the eggs? Yeah, the eggs, dude. It's nuts what these penguins go through.
The father penguin
holds the beer under his scrotum. Okay, here it is. You ready? A quiet evening in front of the fireplace, crackling wood, dancing flames, and then a kick to the face. Roundhouse kick, imperial stout, brewed for taste buds that can never get enough. A real malt and hot bomb, black as night and explosive as dynamite. Dynamite! Heavy and powerful, a malt explosion of espresso and dark chocolate. Woo! I'm gonna like this one, dude. I love that dark beer.
This one is also 9.5% alcohol.
Good, dude. I'm not trying to go home sober.
Dude, today I posted in the March Madness is up, by the way.
Oh yeah, March Madness.
It's getting some good response, but today I got shit on a little bit for my choice to put Don Giovanni against some Salieri opera that nobody's ever heard of. And I thought to myself, let's give the guy... Well, first off, people...
That's a classic rivalry, man.
First off, classic rivalry. Just because you don't fucking know it doesn't mean it wasn't worth it, in the day at least. But secondly, try to make a really comprehensive list of operas that most people know about from the classical period that's not just Mozart.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I mean, there were lots of them, but they weren't necessarily that interesting. And I thought to myself, fuck it, we'll pit these two together again.
I was thinking about this the other day. Okay, first off, I got so many things I want to say. Do you post music clips with it?
No, I don't.
Nah, well, maybe.
Should I?
Maybe, I don't know. Like
that's not a bad idea.
On Instagram, it's pretty easy. You can just like search for it because maybe people don't know. I don't know.
I put up. Nice to know that you're reading the.
I avoid social media these days. It's fucking poison. No, but please like our page.
I wrote up there. I said, now look, this one because I put another one. I put a Lully opera in the Baroque one, which I like.
Yeah,
but
man.
I knew that it was a little obscure, and I thought to myself, look, if you don't know the opera, take the opportunity,
what?
To go listen to some. You don't have to listen to the whole thing, but. Go listen to the fucking best hits of it, yeah?
Best hits. People won't do that shit, man. People are lazy as fuck, which is crazy because it's like click, click. Literally, if you don't post the clip and force it down their fucking throats, people aren't looking at shit.
But I got shit today for the Salieri thing. They're like, why? That's just because of Amadeus. I'm like, go fuck yourself.
You should have been like, yeah.
Well, yeah. First off, that is
it's a pop culture reference.
And
if you were more entertaining at parties, you would know what that is.
Plus, we're not making an academic study here as to what is the best fucking opera of all time. This is entertainment. So if you can't take that fucking joke, maybe you should pull the hunk of wood out of your ass.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Suck a dick.
That was great. I laughed my ass off. There are only 24 operas. Suck a dick.
Suck a dick. The old one-take voiceover. What was I going to say? Oh, I was thinking the other day about how I was watching, I think it's called tumbling in gymnastics, or like vaulting, all that shit, right? And I was watching, someone had made a video where they put like the gold medalists of like 100 years ago and today side by side for like tons of Olympic things. And it is fucking insane.
The difference.
How much better we are now. And it made me think. We worship these guys. We worship Beethoven and all the stories of he played piano till it caught fire, right? All this shit, and we read about it. We're like, you know how good Beethoven was? But like, do you think if we had recordings of all these people, because like Lang Lang, whatever, there'll be recordings of Jonas Kaufman, Pavarotti, there'll be recordings of these people for the rest of time.
Right.
You will be able to listen to it and judge it. You know what I mean? But there are no recordings of Beethoven playing piano. Do you really think he'd be better than the pianists now? Do you really think he's like, because people talk about it like no one alive could ever, like, really? Really? Look at athletes, sports, art, technology, medicine, all of human history. Why would music be an exception to that?
Okay, this got really interesting really quickly. We were talking about fucking March Madness. Piss on that. This is a good conversation, and it's because, I tend to think that you're probably right about that this golden ageism that we had talked about before is really, really bullshit. But it isn't everything else.
But the golden age is people are actually comparing recordings to other recordings.
Right.
And that's more of a valid thing.
No, but what I'm saying is that back then they think that that you tend to think that because it was in Beethoven's days, those people were gods at performing that stuff. But, we also talked about it before, the difference in tastes and expectations between different eras. The Romantic era was not at all about the things that we prize nowadays in accuracy and like perfection and like this note was like this. It was almost only about expression.
Yeah, but also it's like all the stuff, like the stories of him and his fugues and shit. Like they have fugue competitions right now. You should watch that shit. People are nuts. I had a guy I used to study with in university. He was like the house, like, crazy musical genius, right? Like, he was, like, one of these typically, like, crazy fucking people. And you'd be playing any art song. Any fucking art song. He's like, what key you want to do it in today? Like, he would look at the music, and it's like, it doesn't matter what you're playing. He's like, you want to do it, like, a minor third down? Let's do it.
Did he ever get into an improv competition and smoke people?
Probably, man. But that's what I'm saying is, like, it's like...
Did he ever sit around the house and just make fugues for fun?
I don't know. Why are you asking me this?
I'm just saying because there is a level, like, so I tend to agree with you, but when you hear these fucking stories...
Yeah, of course, back then there was nothing else to fucking do.
Yeah, okay, so that's
and we have the music they fucking wrote,
Maybe
obviously.
we are stifling our creativity with all these different forms of entertainment.
I'm just saying, I think people underestimate. Like, I was watching... I get a lot of weird shit on my Instagram feed when I am on Instagram, which is Zelten, which is rare these days. But I get a lot of guitar stuff for some reason because I find it really fascinating because these metal guitarists, Yngwie Malmsteen, and like you look at like Steve Vai and all these people, way underrated. They know chords. They know harmony. Like people you think don't know. Like I saw an interview with what's his name, Pharrell. Didn't he sing "Happy"?
Yeah.
How do you say his name? Pharrell. I think he also like scored.
Will Ferrell. You're right.
I think he also scored the movie to Despicable Me or something. Yeah. But I saw some interview of him talking about music. It's like guy knows his shit. Yeah. And most classical singers would be like, he's just a pop artist. Like, man, you underestimate these people. And these guitarists, man, like what they're playing, the intricacy of what they're playing, but also the knowledge they have of chords, inversions, modulations. It's mind blowing.
Well, the thing is, so. A lot of classical music is, what's on the page? Oh, yeah, I heard something different. What's on the page? And you go back and you look what's on the page.
Yeah.
Which means that you're trained to just fucking play what those notes say, which is not at all
Yeah.
what was done back then. I mean, Bach,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at scores from Bach or like the basso continuo, just take the example of a basso continuo, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You just see fucking numbers and one note,
Yeah.
and people are doing all this crazy shit with it because it was more like jazz. How do you call it?
Like the chord sheets.
Yeah, the
like
chord
lead,
sheets.
Lead sheets.
Lead
whatever.
sheets. That's
yeah.
it. It wasn't like, hey, give me the I got the music only 2 weeks ago. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, there's just
they
outline,
got the
and then you
music
did.
that fucking day, and you perform it that day. Bach composed a new cantata for every fucking week.
Yeah. But also,
for years.
But also it's hard because I think we also underestimate the fact that, like, Mozart was good, all right? Like, everyone in the classical period was good, but at the same time, there was less variation. Do you know what I mean? It was like there was everything in the classical period and everything that came before it. But you didn't have Verdi. You didn't have Rossini, Donizetti. You didn't have fucking Queen. You didn't have all these like fucking AC/DC. You didn't have all that shit. You just basically, if you knew the traditions of the classical period and you knew the things that came before it, it's like that's kind of what you needed to do.
Yeah.
So if you sat down at an opera and someone was going to put music in front of you, it was actually it was going to be basso continuo shit like back to then, or it was going to be classical stuff. But if you threw down Beethoven in front of a classical period musician, I don't think they could play it.
Yeah,
because there'd be no context, But these
Wagner. If you put in, a better one would be because Beethoven was on the edge. But I get your point entirely.
Maybe that's not a good example, but like Wagner. Yeah, so if you put Wagner in front of like a Mozart orchestra, they'd be like,
I've always wondered.
They'd be like, what the fuck is this shit? But we are expected to do. We're forced to be a jack of all trades.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Really, really good point. Look, if you are so musicians were not. When people made music back then, oftentimes they would make music, and the thought of that it would be played way off in the fucking future didn't enter their goddamn brains.
No wonder how much people thought of the future back then.
Nobody composed for posterity. I mean, but Mozart was thinking, all right, I got to get my new one out. That's how I'm making my bread.
Yeah.
Is my new one, not my old one, my
Right.
new one. And what that means is that musical trends. Yeah, he knew of Bach.
Right.
He knew he was a great admirer of Bach, and he knew of Renaissance music, of course.
Sure.
But it wasn't. Renaissance music wasn't really being actively played in that day. It was something to later be discovered.
Yeah.
And then join our sort of musical vocabulary that we have now. But you're totally right. If you're living in that one musical language, to sight read all that musical language is easier than if you are sight reading all different kinds.
Well, you have. I think you have a pretty specific set of expectations of what music's going to do, the style it's going to be. But it's like these days, it's like, man, you do not know if you're gonna get like some almost musical stuff. You're gonna get some of that modern shit. Scop. Like you're gonna get some of that. Like you don't. You literally don't know what's coming. And back then you had a pretty good idea. And I don't know. I think sometimes we give them too much credit. They're fucking great, but it's like, man, they didn't have all the shit we have now. And also they were in some ways more progressive. I mean, there was a lot of people that were like conservative back then, like we need to preserve the fucking like old ways. But a lot of people were about doing what's next. You know what I mean? And these days, I wonder, if anyone in history has ever gone as far back as we do. People are fucking assholes about preserving Baroque music.
Yeah.
And in the Baroque period, did they care about like Greek and were they also going that far back? I wonder.
Yes, they would. Yes, they were. Okay.
I mean, there were people doing it, right?
This is absolutely because that's what the Enlightenment came from. That's what the Renaissance came from.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Was trying to preserve Greek ideals.
That's true, man. So I guess it's kind of always been a thing, looking that far back.
But they didn't have it all. They didn't have Greek music.
I'm going to one up everyone. I'm going straight Paleolithic music, man. The origins of music.
Absolutely.
Like, what the fuck are you talking
fucking
about?
Bone flutes.
Bone flutes and zero tonality, you fucking plebes.
I don't believe there was ever zero. I mean, I've never heard music that wasn't just modern and trying to be fucking asshole-ish, that didn't have a tonic, that didn't have a home center.
Yeah, there has to be.
Note.
There has to be.
Does there have to be?
I think so.
I mean, it's kind of what modern music is about, is saying that doesn't have to be the case.
Yeah, like you also like
kids don't play. I know kids don't try to make organized music, but it's not like we sit down and come back to the tonic.
Yeah, and I get it. I get what modern music is and all that shit. I fucking get it. But at the same time, it's like a G sounds consonant in C major because it has a context of C major. It has a quality because of C major. But a G in G flat major will sound really dissonant because its quality has changed because it mathematically does not fit into G flat major.
That's absolutely true. But why do we have to have, and I mean melodically, why is there most of the time a starting pitch and then go, and always fucking end up there?
But are you talking about tonality or are you talking about resolution? Are you talking about resolving?
I'm talking that a melody has, this is, I'm trying to take it out of this language and say melodies, which is the inarguable beginning of music. You have to have a melody before you have harmony. Is that it starts somewhere and there is somehow, because it's the starting spot, there is the expectation in our brains somehow that it will be the end spot. And then the tones that subsequently come somehow pivot around there. Do you understand what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
And it's because maybe, like, you have a fun, like, to have any kind of ending. Like to say the song is now done. How else could you possibly define it other than coming back to where you started? I mean,
pitch.
I guess I answered my own.
But I think it's because, like, we talked once on the podcast, like, aliens, you know, if you developed like an electric sense, like your music would be based on electricity, not
that
like
was
whatever.
One of my favorite
but also,
things
but let's get deeper, Mike. Let's get deeper. Like, what would music be if we were immortal? Because I think a lot of human life, things have to end. There is a cycle. Seasons end, years end, life ends. Things have a beginning and the end, and it's the context that keeps us sane. We talked about on the podcast once, like if you're homeless or whatever, you're going to create some sort of sense of routine. You need some sort of sense of predictability, expectations, accomplishment, progression. Otherwise, you're just floating through time, and that makes us insane. And so, of course, we think of music the same way. Of course, we design computers, and papers have conclusions. You know what I mean? It's like things have to end because life fucking ends. You know what I mean? It's like conversations end. Like if we just like stop this podcast, you know, it'd be fucking crazy. Like
right. So that justifies why it has to start or end on the same spot that it started.
Yeah. So I mean, you could argue. I think you could also argue the physics of it. You know, the length of waveforms and how they fit into each other, and like you have to kind of resolve the dissonance and beat patterns that you created. You could argue that, but at the same time, I think it's more psychological. It's like, you have to end something. You know what I mean? You have to end it. You have to, if something has a beginning, it has an end.
Yeah, but from a definition standpoint, you could say at any point is the end. That's the end of my song. Completely unsatisfying, even to the most untrained person raised by wolves in the woods.
Yeah, you could also end a conversation in the middle of a word. You could end sex before that orgasm, but it's like there has to I don't know, there has to be. Yeah, I don't know.
But you understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying.
So the physics of it, what you were talking about there are consonant tones and dissonant tones.
Yeah. Only because you set up a context. You know what I mean? Like C is only consonant if you're in a context of something that makes it consonant. Otherwise, it's dissonant.
Exactly, but the song has to start somewhere, so you cannot help but set up a context.
Yeah, because I had this conversation the other day with one of my students because they were like,
"You had this conversation."
Well, not this conversation, but
God damn, I need to join your studio.
But it was one of those songs where like you're singing and then there's a break and then you come back in a new key. You like this direct modulation. You know, this musical theater shit where you just bump it up a whole step and then sing the same shit again. Like Bon Jovi, we were saying like it's like living on a prayer. You know, it's like living on a prayer. And it goes up, right? It's like this classic pop modulation. And I was like, yeah, well, like you missed the modulation. Like you gotta modulate. Then I come in with the chords, so you have to hear the modulation. And like so they're like, what's a modulation? I was like, whoa. And so then like I was like, we go to a new key, and they're like, yeah, but why? Like, why do modulations exist? And I was like, okay, so you don't want to sing for the rest of this lesson. But it was like this conversation light. Like, it was a light version of this conversation, but basically like, yeah, modulations exist because you're creating a new context for all the things that are happening. Leading tones, resolutions, like all this stuff, they have to exist within a context. Otherwise, we don't hear them. Harmony, dissonances, consonances, resolutions, suspensions only exist if you have a context.
That doesn't say...
This aleatoric, like traffic can't have a 4-3 suspension because if you don't have a tonic, there is no 4. There's no expectation. There's no quality of a third if you don't have a root.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true, but it doesn't explain exactly why you have to return, why you most often
But that's what I asked you. Were you talking
there.
about the resolution instead of tonality?
But I guess so, but
People
it
are-
also but the thing is, if you were to take music that they didn't think about music harmony at all, you can clearly see and listen to folk music.
Yeah.
Just listen to any kind of folk music you can find. It all is centered. You'll like. You've got the tonic, and you're gonna wander your way up to the fifth, and then down below to the fifth, and then back up, and maybe the third, and then fifth, and then back down to the fifth, and then you're up to the tonic again. It's so pivoty around this clearly center thing. And the other thing is, folk music oftentimes takes it one step further and drones the note.
Yeah, but pop music though, I've been playing a lot of pop shit lately for my studs, and it very often ends on like a 4. Very, very, very often ends on like a 4 chord. I was playing like John Legend with one of my students today. It was just like fucking fa. Just fucking ended, you know? It's just like a lot of times they end on 6s and 4s. Like they often don't resolve because also they don't do this 1, 4, 2,
They'll end
5,
on 6
1.
because it's a deceptive cadence. But
No. Like, yeah, okay. Like,
and the tonic is still in a 6 or 4.
yeah, but like.
It's still there. You still hear it.
Yeah, but they will not. The way they end songs is not like resolved.
But they wouldn't
from
end
a classical
on a 5.
standpoint.
But they wouldn't end on a 5.
Maybe. I think in pop music it's more allowed because pop music strays away from harmony, becomes more about the quality of the sounds and not the quality of the chord. The classical ear is more trained to hear the quality of the chord.
Okay, cool.
And they hear just like whap 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 whap, and they don't really hear the harmony, but they hear like the dissonance,
Now
the
wait
fade.
a minute, whoa, Mr.
What?
Pharrell saying how fucking good he is and how much of a musician he is. They know exactly what they're fucking doing.
Yeah, they do.
know
I'm talking about the
exactly-
listener. I'm talking about the average pop listener does not listen to harmony. Like the way I look at my dad's generation, like not just my dad, but also people of his age, people in their 60s, talk about like Queen and these old bands and stuff like that. Like speakers were becoming a thing. Stereo sound was becoming a thing back then, and people were really into like starting to get into like the sound of it
and the feel of it.
the feel of it away from the harmony and stuff like that.
But it doesn't change the fact that anybody you play a fucking unresolved cadence for feels some sort of
yeah, we had the same
non-resolution.
conversation when we did our history of music thing, and I think it's a point where you and I disagree a bit. I think there's a lot of people that have no idea if they're singing out of tune, and they have no idea if you've resolved. Because I mean, I have students where I'm like, "Do you hear the crunchiness of this chord?" And they're like, nah. Because I have people I do ear training with, and some people it's like they hear major and minor is a very subtle difference, but I will play like a C major 3-note chord, and I will play like a fully diminished chord. I'm like, do you hear the difference? They're like, that's the same chord. And I was like, no. Like, no, man. This is way different what I'm doing.
Yeah,
right?
okay. But if you play, you were talking about context earlier. If you play 1, 4, 5, 5, every fucking single student of yours will sing 1.
No,
No?
man. No, you need to teach more amateurs, dude. These people, dude, I remember like 7 years ago, I had this woman, and I fuck you not, for 3 months, we worked on Jolene every week. So how many weeks is that? Like 12 weeks. Like we worked on Jolene, and straight up, the thing we were trying to learn is your voice has got to go up. You know, it's Jolene, 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 or whatever the melody is. But she was going Jolene, 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 and she was hearing pitch going up as volume. And it's like I couldn't get her to understand. It's like you're getting louder, but your voice is getting higher. And I would do these exercises with her where I'd be like, "Oh, get down or up," and she'd be like, "Up." I'm like, "No,
Look, no,
that
okay,
went
but
down."
this is a diagnosable thing. Maybe she actually has amnesia.
Yeah, maybe, man, but then there's got to be a spectrum. There's like, so when do you have like a disorder, and when can you just not hear harmony? You know?
Okay, that's a really, really good question. I mean, I love doing that. I love talking to something where talking about something where you can actually get to the core.
It's this 9% shit, dude.
9%.
By the way, that's good shit.
That's good shit.
Oi,
That's nice chocolatey shite.
I'm gonna keep this bottle because I'm gonna order a case of that. Honestly, Roadhouse Kick.
Man, you're gonna
from
fuck
Crew.
yourself up. Is that what you're gonna drink at home now?
Yeah, fuck it. I don't give a shit, dude. They at Lidl the other day, they were having a sale on Fireball whiskey. Dude, I bought like 4 of them.
Yeah,
man.
you can do at Lidl, which is, by the way, for Americans, you guys have Aldi.
We actually talked about it in the last podcast.
Right. But you can buy decent liquor there. You can't buy decent beer there.
Nah, you gotta pick your spots. By the way, that conversation Mike and I just had was pretty highbrow. So if you didn't have a pretty substantial amount of music theory, we might have just been talking nonsense. But yeah,
it's just undeniable that folk and early music centers around one pitch, and it's an interesting question. Why?
Nah, it's interesting because people think all the questions in music have been answered, but they haven't been, and there's lots of room for debate. Like this one, this is kind of a difference between you and I don't think you're wrong, and I don't necessarily think I'm right.
But where did we disagree?
Because you also back then you tended to say that like people naturally hear a fifth. Like there's a natural tendency to go towards a fifth. And I think there might be, but I think it's an anatomical reason. But yours was more psychological, that people hear
Not
a fifth.
Psychological, physical. That you
perceive, but
that you can
you're
perceive
able...
it because it's actually in the tone.
Yeah.
A fifth is there when you sing the tonic.
Yeah, well, and I agree, but I've always thought that like the fifth that we had in music was more based to like when I used to play trumpet and tuba and stuff. It's like if you just go up the overtone series, you're going to be hitting a lot of fourths and fifths and stuff like that.
But
if you just bump up, like it's not going to be. It's like just the natural. You get punched in the stomach. People go, It's not like like it's.
Well, that's an interesting question. Why?
I think it's about pharyngeal resonance and shit. It's about sound waves and how they subdivide.
So physics, exactly what I was saying.
Yeah, but you think people perceive the difference, and I'm saying I don't think they perceive it.
No, absolutely.
I think
Wait. You're totally misrepresenting that. What I said was they couldn't tell the difference between the fifth and the tonic.
Okay.
They would sing the fifth.
Okay.
Meaning, I'd say, sing this note, and they'd sing a fifth above, and I'd be like, fuck, that's interesting. Isn't that cool?
Okay. Have we been saying the same thing all this time, then?
No, your points are slightly different than mine. I mean, we're not trying to win a debate, so we're just working shit out.
Yeah.
And which is, by the way, people, that's the best way to have a conversation. To have no side, to have no stake in it. You should have every conversation like that. And by the way, when you do that, you'll find new shit out.
Yeah, and by the way, you should live your life like that. You know,
Absolutely.
Your husband leaves you, he doesn't leave you. Who gives a shit? You know,
who gives a fuck?
Like, you know,
we're all headed. The whole universe is headed for heat death, so it does not. fucking
we're all
matter.
gonna burn to death in 5 years. So just rub one out and drink whatever you want. You know,
drink your 9%.
But if you get a cold, you got to make sure that.
See, I was thinking we were gonna have to scrap this entire.
No, we can't. We can't talk nerd theory for an hour, dude. Like
we absolutely could.
Which, if you're still listening, hang in there because we got some funny shit going on later in the episode. we got a Fach Fiction to get to today.
Before we get to that, there was a huge response to the last episode.
Which one was that? Was that the university one?
Yeah, the university, German university one.
Yeah,
a huge response. Thank you guys for all your shit.
Yeah,
a lot of people thanked us for finally fucking getting to it.
I think it was our most downloaded episode ever.
Yeah.
Bisher. Yeah. No, it had to be done.
We also got some criticisms.
Did we?
Yeah, fuck yeah. People. We got a bunch of people who wrote, well, you didn't cover this, didn't cover this. And I'm like, it's a fucking hour. We did our goddamn best.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like, yeah, but people.
And there were people who also all valid questions.
Yeah.
All fucking valid questions that we got afterwards, but maybe then it's just a multi-episode thing.
I don't know. What kind of questions then? I mean, like...
one person said you didn't say anything about... like starting off in Germany.
Yeah.
Starting young professionals starting off in Germany. And I'm like, yeah, but that's because that wasn't the episode.
Yeah, it's like people who read relationship advice from books. You know, it's like I got.
Hal, tell me. That's a good one.
Just like this love language shit, and just like this, like no. If you don't heal the fucking, like, it's like, man, like, yeah, in theory, fucking fine. But at the end of the day, your relationship is you and that fucking person and your fucking life.
Oh, I see
Do you
what
know
you're
what I mean?
saying.
That's
So
what I'm
you're
talking
saying
about.
we can say as much as we want. Everybody's still going to have to live it and experience
Yeah,
it,
like,
figure it out
look,
on their own.
And I can't communicate this enough, but like going to a different country, going to any university, pursuing a singing career in any context or a music career has more to do with who you are as a person than anything else. Do you know how many people I've known out here that they did it right? They went to Juilliard, they went to Curtis, they went to AVA, they won every big competition. They did Lindemann, they did Wolf Trap, they did the fucking, like, what's the San Francisco big one? The Marilla. Then after that, you're like an Adler, whatever the fuck it's called. LA, they did that shit. They came out here, they did the big opera house, they fucking have the big career, and they're done by 30 because they burn out or they can't handle the stress or they decide they want other things. It's like people often, like, I'm not gonna say fail, but they often quit because of shit that has nothing to do with the path.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing. That's the exact thing. People
People will succeed adversely for the same reason. They'll take
Exactly.
the wrong path, but they have such a drive and determination, and they have such like a refusal to quit. You know, that then they take the worst possible path and they still succeed.
You know, this is okay. So this is a long conversation. So I'll try to keep it short, but I'm not great at that.
Honey and lemon for the.
We'll talk about that. That's really good. People tend to just like people talk about a bunch of people who don't know anything about economics tend to be like, "What are these people doing to our economy?"
Yeah.
And what they don't realize when they say that is, none of those politicians, and here's the big secret, none of those economists have even close to the capability of actually dealing and effectively manipulating an economy that you think. They don't have those abilities. Why? Because an economy is one of the most complex systems known in all of the universe. What we do, what people do in dealing with other economically is so massively complex that you cannot calculate. You basically can't calculate it with. There are micro decisions being made all the time that later have far-reaching effects on everything. It's way too fucking complex, and you can't. Nobody can fucking control shit. They're all just out there fucking guessing. I bring this up because people tend to think about something like an opera career as like a man-made system that has
there's some
that
rule book,
has
there's a
way,
playbook that if you follow
that's
it,
a playbook. Like, I made the system, and these are the rules for how you get into the system and go. No. What you are entering into as an opera singer is an economic system. There are thousands of people making individual decisions every fucking day, and those decisions are also affected by the decisions of the governments that are making, so let's say you want to come to Germany and you want to enter into the opera system. You don't only have to deal with the ideas and the effects that the people making decision at opera houses have, but you have to do that with the agents, and you have to do that with the teachers that are here, and you have to do that with the place that you're staying and the Hochschulen, and then that all depends on how the fucking government is working, how the local government is working, and it's so fucking complex that you have to treat it as something organic.
It is
means
organic.
You got to do it yourself.
Well, beyond that, like what about timing? You know what I mean? Like I was talking about this today actually. Like when I came here in like 2012 or something like that. There was nothing going on. You know what I mean? And it was fucking hard. I had a hard time. Could you imagine if I had come here and 2 months later the pandemic happened?
Right.
It would have been done. It would have been over. I would have gone back to the States probably. I had no connections. I had nothing. I had barely any money.
Yeah.
I did not have the resources to be able to survive this 2 years fucking lockdown. You You know what I mean? Like, it would have been done because it's just timing fucked me. I could have done the schools and everything or something like that. Or I could have fought through 2 years and maybe, but it's like, it's an amassment of so many fucking things.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
People will often say, well, I would have made it, but this happened.
But it's like,
and the thing
anything.
is, that happens all the time for everybody.
And you compare it to kids, you can compare it to having a relationship or anything. It's like, read a couple books about having a baby, know how to change a diaper, but at one point, you're just going to have to bust that nut and then just take what comes out, you know?
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do
Ugly or beautiful, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That it's now legally yours.
Yeah, and you're going to have to deal with whatever version of that it is, because like kids are different, people are different, households are different, jobs are different. Like it's like what's the perfect way to have a kid? It's like, what's the perfect way to have opera? It's the same fucking way. You fucking take that rubber off, come to Germany, bust your nut, and then see what happens, all right? And then you deal with it because you're on the ride.
Dude, you're absolutely right. So, look, the next episode is going to be just saying, just fucking do it.
Plan as best as you can, but just do it. And basically what you're doing, people make it about opera singer, but basically you're freelancing. Freelancing singing is not that different than freelancing anything. You know what I mean?
Except there's less of a market for most things.
Maybe, but if there's a market for it, people are doing it.
Yeah, that's
true. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It's like, if there's a market for it, it's not a secret that you found out. Other people fucking know. You know what I mean? And so,
dude, I mean, look, I just wanted to get that out there, that we really, really tried our best to fulfill your longings.
But at some point, just take the fucking leap. At this point, I'm going to refer anybody that asks any of these questions to season 4, what is it, episode 3, I guess. I'm going to refer them to episode, and I'm going to be like, you fucking read whatever books and blogs you want, and then take the fucking leap.
Yeah, this is our contribution to it.
Yeah, but read. Other people do whole podcasts like dedicated just to that, I think.
That's right.
But also, it's basically a macro version of what you do every night as a singer. Like, you learned your music, you did what you could, but you're gonna go out there. It's gonna be dry. You're gonna cough. You're gonna get nervous. Something's gonna fall. Like the orchestra's gonna fuck up.
You might get a cold.
Yeah, you might get a cold. The oboe doesn't come in. You know, it's like, and you have to roll with fucking comes. All right, when I get a cold, man.
All right, people. So this was what we were. How much time do we have still?
I actually don't know if we can talk about this. We're at 42 minutes, and we still got to do sponsors, Fach, and then we were gonna also do just the tip. So let's give them like 8 minutes of cold remedies, because you have some shit, man. I want you to be able to talk about it. You know.
We could save it for next time.
No, I can't do a whole hour on cold remedies. I could do 10 minutes.
All right, so what do you know about cold remedies? Let's just do
nothing.
Fucking 8 minutes.
No, man.
What were we going to do this whole time, Jim?
I don't know.
Thank God we bullshitted.
No, it's just at this point, it's been 100-something episodes. We never once have had dead air.
Seriously,
you know?
We've never had dead air.
Yeah.
And we've never had troubles coming up with something.
No,
what are we going to do? Like, what are we going to do 2 years from now? I thought about that today. What the fuck are we going to do next season?
It's so easy. It's so easy. Like, we do an episode about the oboe. You know, we do an episode about how strings are made. We do an episode about like
all of those are fantastic ideas. By the way,
there's so many composers, right? And then
you're right. I'll quit my bitching.
There's so many operas and composers and songs, and then also like non-operatic shit. And then beyond that, it's like, what about the history of what was going on during Mozart's life? Why can't we talk about that European history? Why can't we talk about like the 30 Years' War and shit?
It's funny because that is stuff that is so super interesting and almost never talked about.
Yeah, but it influences the composers. People fled, people wrote music, people were censored because of who was in power, you know?
In Graupoliska, they would go, medieval, or they'd say like 1700, or like, no, 1500 to 1600. 100 years.
That's so long.
And
so much happened.
And the first paragraph is 5 sentences long, and that is the history of Europe.
Yeah.
In that time.
And man, like if you look at art, was there a sound? Did you hear something? Am I crazy?
Yeah, no, I heard something.
Like someone talking, right? What was that? The ghost?
The fucking ghost.
Someone in here. So
I'm getting a beer. You go.
You getting another crew beer?
Yeah. No, I can get a normal beer if you want.
No, get both. Get both, man. I'm getting ripped. Get a crew beer and this one. What were we just talking about though? I got a vamp while you're gone.
We were talking about history.
Yeah. The thing is like if you look at architecture, painting, music, and society, they often went at the same time together. Like when there was this Rococo, music was doing the same thing. When there was this Gothic architecture, music was doing the same thing. And art was doing the same thing. Romantic stuff, blah, 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 blah. And the thing is if you learn about the history of language, you learn about European history, you learn about the development of society, you start to make correlations to the development of music, and you understand it more because music has to do with humanity, and humanity has changed over the years. And learning about history, this is some hardcore vamping, right?
That's the best I've ever heard. I was just thinking that, dude. That's fucking
I can tell in your face, man. I'm just vamping.
I was like, wow, that was really interesting.
But if you look at like the development of, because we talk about all the time as artists, we're like, it's art, man. It's what I feel in my feelies inside. But it's like, do you ever think about like the exact context of Mozart's life? What was going on politically, geopolitically, what the world was doing? No.
Yeah, like
wouldn't that help you to understand? Like, do you understand how hard it was for getting food or not? Like, was it like you have thoughts, but like, where do you get those from?
Right. So imagine that you got to come back to life. Let's say you're a composer now, and you got to come back to life and see that somebody wrote about your music and they didn't mention COVID-19 at all.
Yeah.
It just wasn't an issue.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with your career. It didn't affect you as a musician or anything at all.
Right.
Yeah, of course it fucking did, man.
You know what they do, though? They would say, like, at this time, they would find some fucking email of yours. At this time, he was interested in this one person.
Yeah.
And we believe this brought out this blah, blah, blah
Just
in this
bullshit.
music.
Just bullshit, man. It's like it's different than you think it was, and it gives context to everything. Like I was reading, I heard this. I did
Dude,
this.
we really got to get to the code.
I know.
soon.
Let me just say this one thing. All right, but I was learning about the English language and how they were like, because the English, everyone's like, oh, it looks fucked up, right? Like you have all these letters that don't have pronunciation. Like Ben Franklin was a big advocate of like, we got to get these fucking letters out, man.
Yeah, he was awesome like that.
Yeah, he's like, why are there all these letters in these words, right? But in researching this and learning about it, I heard a recording of someone that was some expert was speaking English as it would sound during Ben Franklin's time. Like they were like reading his letters, you wouldn't understand it, really. If Ben Franklin was here, you couldn't really understand him talk. It was really different.
Yeah.
You know, people think he'd go back then and he would be like, oh, dear chap, hello, boy. But really, he's like, like it's like, it would be so hard to understand these people.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, yeah, they give context. All right, so I look at a little lemon and I take the ginger, right? I take the ginger.
Oh, you're good. Jumping right in. That hurt.
That was
like,
a direct modulation. I went from
dick.
F major to fucking like A flat minor. Well, that would actually would work, I guess. But maybe like G flat, fucking, I don't know. Dorian Gray. But no, we had planned to talk about colds, but fuck it, man.
Nah,
like,
fuck it, dude. We jammed too long on too many good things. I don't mind that.
Nah, we're at 47 minutes. Fuck it, we'll save it for another time. We'll put it on the back burner. Look, man. Well, okay. First, we're going to get to our sponsors, but first, Mike
Everybody's got their own fucking thing anyway.
Yay, just fucking take care of yourselves, right? Preventative measures. Don't touch your dick and then touch your eyes. All right, so Mike and I are drinking the Easy beer, okay? Grilling by the Izar River.
This definitely needs a southern accent.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Grilling by the Izar River, relaxing with friends, soaking up the sun in the mountains. That is your life, and our Easy is the beer to go with it. This is so German. Like, how many short sounds you could have. Positively hoppy and refreshing. This is our tribute to the best of times on the most beautiful place on earth.
That's good job, but man, you can really
the most beautiful place on earth.
I love that. I love that beautiful southern molasses sort of accent you can do.
Yeah,
you can only really do it if you.
You gotta get down in there.
That's the only way to do.
You gotta
that
live in
growly
South Carolina. Okay. So we're gonna read some fucking sponsors here. So you people been sponsoring us up. And
thanks, guys.
Fucking appreciate it. Yeah, why don't you take a gander?
Take a
read there. Get some.
Nikola Yevich, do you think?
I don't know, man.
Jevtic. Social Security number. Neil Anderson, come down. Valda Wilson. I know, she wrote me. Thank you, Valda. Carlos Rojo and Thomas Kinch, you think? Or Kinch?
I don't know. You got the phone, man.
Kinch,
I'm just
Thomas
dancing.
Kinch. Nicholas Roja, Walder Wilson, Anderson, yeah, Nicola,
All right, we're almost done now. I let it go. I let it go. Okay. Fucking, yeah, SDO secret sponsor fucking club. All right, so, Nikola, what'd you say? Yevtich. I don't know. Nikola, thank you.
Was that like a hot chick over the sea that you just cheated on, or what?
Probably. Niall Anderson, Valda Wilson, Carlos Rojo, and Thomas Kink.
Man, we got people from all over the place.
All over the fucking place, dude. Yeah, man. I looked the other day. It's like we're like up damn near 100 countries.
Nice.
Yes. Listen, thank you so much for your sponsorship. You guys have been sent a password to the secret sponsor section. You get in there, you can make your own unique password. And then once you get in there, you can just have access to our 4 seasons of secret sponsor stuff, which every podcast we do a parallel secret sponsor one to it. And I mean, all the way back to when we were building the studio, all the way back to when we were recording in Mike's basement. We have videos and content from that. As I said earlier in the podcast, if you want to become a secret sponsor right now, you can do it on Patreon and have access to our live stream tomorrow at 8 p.m. Berlin time. So if you're on the West Coast in the States, it's going to be a little bit earlier for you. So skip church, do the live stream. But people can interact with us, talk with us. We have the chat going the whole time. And we had a good time answering questions and just like interacting live with everybody. You can really be a part of the show. And if you miss it, then the live stream is, of course, there in the secret sponsor section. You can just go in later and watch it. So...
And also, guys, if you're not in the financial position to send us 2 dickheads money every month, then just go to give us a like on Instagram, a like on or a follow on YouTube. All that shit helps.
Yeah, give us a good rating or something on Facebook.
Share our shit.
Yeah.
Share a meme.
Yeah.
That shit helps.
Share a meme.
Share is caring, people.
Yeah, so we're also very transparent. You can go to our website and we have on the donate tab, you can get access to all these things, Patreon, all that. But also, we spell out exactly how much the podcast costs us every month. Right. We also show exactly how many sponsors we have, so you can see how helpful it is being a sponsor. Just as an exercise, if you think, it doesn't take much to do this podcast, just go check it out. Just for your own edification. I'll post the receipts. So again, Nicola, Niall, Valda, Carlos, Thomas, thank you guys so much for joining the club. Anyone else that wants to join, hit us up on Patreon and we'll get there. So, all right, so we're going to end today's show on a little bit of a saucier note. And we're going to...
What's that mean?
We're going to do a Fach Fiction. Man.
Again? Man, we haven't had one for a while.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a dry spell, Pandemic... Creativity's fucking hard to come by.
Pandemic dry vagina. One of the side effects of the corona vaccine. No. Get vaccinated.
Oh, Jesus,
Get
Mike.
vaccinated.
Oh, golly.
Get vaccinated.
Good old Rachel wrote us.
My God, what if that were one of the side effects?
I didn't know what you said. I was half listening.
I said dry vagina is one of the side effects of us.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
What would dry dick be? I guess just like shooting steam.
No, imagine if you just had a dry dick while jerking off all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's rough.
That's
literally.
All
right. So Rachel wrote us, and she said that...
Rachel's our main author, by the way.
Yeah. But any of you are welcome to write us a Fach Fiction. Whatever you write, I'll fucking read it, okay? I mean, that one guy wrote us about his, like, getting caged for the weekend shit. That was more Fach Fiction than anything.
Was that the same guy that wrote about falling off his dildo?
Yeah.
Yeah?
But yeah. So, like, listen, like, if you want to hear something said... on the radio, write it in.
We promise you that we're gonna say it.
Well,
if
it's fucking nuts, then it might be on the secret sponsor stuff because we go a bit harder on those. All right, so Rachel wrote us, and she said, she wrote us a little nice email here, but she said at one point somebody had asked for Carmen Don Giovanni Fach Fiction, and so here it is.
All right. You're not on the tab anymore, by the way.
Okay. I have not pre-read this, so this is going to be a cold read.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because I don't like to do it. I like to be surprised with you, know?
Okay, cool.
So I like to kind of sight read these things.
I saw it come into the inbox, and I just
I do the same.
Away right away.
I read her message, and then I didn't read it because I like to be surprised. All right, so the world premiere of Carmen Don Giovanni Fach Fiction, baby. No, yeah, Mike. put that beer underneath your penguin balls and get ready to go on a fucking ride. Oh, God, here we go. The heat hadn't quite gotten unbearable yet. The sweat dripping down Maria's chest between her breasts was a cool relief as she wrapped cigarette after cigarette in the factory job her sister had gotten her. She liked the way her fingers smelled like tobacco after a long day of work, and she would leave at dusk. I thought that was going somewhere else.
Me too, dude. Jesus.
Just starting off hard. And she would leave at dusk every night, happy to have work at all. Her sister, though, was another story. Carmen couldn't be controlled. She had worked in so many different places Maria had lost count, and yet she always seemed so happy and full of life. She was a good sister despite it all, and Maria, 7 years her younger, adored her. They left the factory together that day, but Carmen saw the tall gentleman first. He was standing across the dirt road in front of the paneria, where this is a mixed language one. I gotta be ready for these now. Where the women brought their evening bread. Maria knew he was trouble just by looking at him, and Carmen, too, must have sensed something because she pulled her loose white blouse down even farther than it was.
Carmen, you saucy bitch, you.
Go get the bread, she instructed Maria. Maria looked at her and at the gentleman, knowing exactly how the next 3 days of their lives would go, and sighed. She didn't like covering for Carmen at work while she went off with whoever was this week's pursuit, but Carmen had raised her so she couldn't complain. Maria went to get the bread, and Carmen pinched her nipples to make them hard through the thin white cloth.
Do girls do that? Do girls do that?
I don't know. Someone write in, man. Do girls pinch their nips to make them harder?
I hope so. That's kind of hot.
So. Yeah, dude. This is. I gotta tuck my penguin back. I'm gonna read it again. Carmen pinched her nipples to make them hard through the thin white cotton. Buenas tardes, she said to the tall stranger. Buenas tardes, she said to the tall stranger. The man looked up from the cigarette he had just placed in his mouth and locked eyes with Carmen. His mouth curled into a half smile, and almost instantly he felt himself get hard.
Oh,
yeah,
Rachel.
Dude. Yeah, I told you, dude. This one's getting up. She was mysterious, experienced, not the usual virgins and brides he went for, but he didn't care. She was dripping with sex, and he wanted her now. This is real 50 Shades of Grey.
Dripping with sex.
Dripping with sex.
That means one thing.
Yeah.
Dripping with sex means one fucking thing.
Yeah. I can't write these Fach Fictions. I would go funny,
me
you know?
neither, dude.
She pinched her bean to make it stick out. No, anyway. Okay. So she's dripping with sex, and he wanted her now.
Bean quivered like a Mexican dancing bean.
God, no, stop it.
Isn't it Mexican? Is it a Mexican dancing bean?
No, they're jumping beans, dude.
Jumping
they're
beans,
jumping
jumping
beans.
beans.
Jeez.
What the fuck are those, by the way?
Those
Talk
are like
about
a.
that after.
So she pinched her. No, she's dripping with sex at this point, and he wanted her
dripping.
now. Buonasera, he said, reaching in his pocket for a match. You are not from around here, Carmen said, pulling a match out of her ample breasts and lighting it on the wall behind his head.
They both have great English, by the way.
Nice. I can't do an Italian accent. No, Don Giovanni at your service, he said. It kind of ruins it.
A little bit.
He said with a small bow, pulling her hand forward to light the cigarette. Carmen smiled. She had heard tell of Don from Italy, working his way through Spain, fucking everyone he could. She heard a story from Maria about how he had fucked a bride, fucked her new husband in the next room, and then, not satiated yet, had fucked the groom's mother for 3 hours that night.
The mother?
Yeah.
The mother?
All of them, dude.
Donnie G.
The old woman supposedly died a few days later of pure satisfaction. What the fuck? But Carmen supposed that
Christ,
part
Rachel.
was where the legend and the truth diverged. Still, she wanted to see for herself if this man could live up to the stories. Do you live around here? He asked. I'm looking for a bed for the night and need a recommendation. Of course, she said, and looked at him. Follow me. Carmen walked in front of him by 2 paces, not speaking. A strange behavior he had never encountered before. Who did this poor factory worker think she was? She turned on a side street, and when he followed, she was gone. Strange, he said under his breath and stopped, flinging his cigarette into the corner of the alley. But just then, he felt a hand circle around the back of his waist and wind its way to his belt. Put your hands on the wall, Carmen said. He obeyed, enjoying the strange feeling of a woman having power over him. She pulled his... I just read the next two sentences. You ready?
Yes.
You ready to go for
You
a goddamn
wrote them?
ride?
You wrote them?
No, I read them. I was reading advanced, dude. I read good. All right, I gotta back it up now. I ruined the momentum. I ruined the momentum. All right, get back in there, okay? Put your hands on the wall.
She's not gonna fuck him with a cigar.
Just hold up, dude. She's not gonna give him the Bill Clinton. No. Well, I don't know. I didn't read that much. All right. But just then he felt a hand circle around the back of his waist and wind its way to his belt. Put your hands on the wall, Carmen said. He obeyed, enjoying the strange feeling of a woman having power over him. She pulled his pants down, and before he could protest, had 2 fingers in his ass. Fingering him deeply. Mike's look of shock is amazing. Wait, I'm blowing the momentum. Let me say it again.
No. Yeah, do it.
And before he could protest, had 2 fingers in his ass. Fingering him deeply, he yelped. But she took his... Yelped. Like that old racist Taco Bell Chihuahua. No, that's not in here. He yelped. But she took his belt in her other hand and wrapped it expertly around his neck. She'd clearly done this before. Shh, she told him, relax.
I feel like Rachel has clearly done this before.
Yikes, right? Okay, she said, relax. He did, as she forced a small ceramic device in his ass and told him to follow her. He turned around, delighted, and followed her into the cool, dark building he had been leaning his hands on. They entered a room that seemed right out of his fantasies. Straps hung from the ceiling, tools designed for pleasure or torture were lined up on a small wooden table in the corner, and one small mattress lay on the floor. He thought of everything he wanted to do to this mysterious woman in this room, but realized, perhaps too slowly, that he was the object of her latest pursuit, and not the other way around. Yeah, man. Dude, Don Giovanni got pegged by some sort of like...
Absolutely.
She maybe should have put a cigar up there, though. That might have been... Because she's rolling cigars all day.
Cigars. She's got one there. Oh, small ceramic device?
Yeah.
Question mark? Much? What the fuck? What the fuck did she put in his ass?
That's pretty good writing for Don Giovanni, though. Because he is an animal.
No,
you know,
I'm asking a question. What the fuck did she put in his ass?
A small ceramic device. Device makes it strange.
Device means moving parts to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, they didn't have a proper butt plug back then.
I mean,
ceramic.
You could make a butt plug out of ceramic, I guess.
Yeah, just dip a pint cone.
I feel like Rachel and Fell Off My Dildo guy need to get together.
Co-write something.
Yeah. Send an email or something. Maybe we can hook these two up.
Maybe Mike and I can flip coins for who plays Carmen and Giovanni. We'll do a role play. Buonasera.
No, wait. What was I going to say? The evolution of Rachel Duvall from Fach Fiction #1.
Oh yeah,
to
scholars will be talking about this for hundreds of years. Yeah, she's getting more comfortable, man. Like Rachel, you haven't.
Rachel slowly began to lose her mind from her corona infection that she had no idea about.
As her world got darker,
putting
so did her writing.
Ceramic devices in people's asses.
Look. Someone find the border, okay? Someone write me something that I'll say I'm not reading this shit, right?
That's right.
There is a border. There is a border, but
Rachel's moving. She's going in that direction.
She's going in the right direction, man. Yeah, like putting things up Don Giovanni's ass, like I'm down.
I'll write you something. I could write you something real quick.
Yeah, but you can't just have. It's like writing modern music for the sake of modern music.
That's right.
It's got to have purpose. You know,
That's
you can't
right.
just write people fucking animals and shit.
She's honing her craft.
Man. That was very 50 Shades of Grey. That was very 50 Shades of Grey. I appreciated a lot of moments. You know, fingers smelling like cigarettes. And
I had pictures in my
pinched
in my
nipples.
Head.
Yeah, pulling hands in for cigarettes. That was good. Yeah, I had a picture.
The only thing I didn't.
Where I pictured it, though, did you picture it in the Domingo courtyard?
Yes, of course. You mean the movie?
Yeah, the movie with Domingo. That courtyard, right? He was right up against that wall.
But I
and
didn't
she came
picture
out.
Domingo.
No.
I didn't quite picture her. I don't know who the singer was.
I had what's his name? The starts with an R. He did the Don Giovanni movie at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
The Don Giovanni movie.
Yeah, Don Giovanni was him. Like they did like the movie, the same.
I don't
like in the
remember Don
80s when they make
Giovanni.
in the 80s.
I remember Tosca.
Yeah,
with
but that was
Domingo.
that was
Cheryl
Milnes. But at the same time they're doing all these movies, the guy that did Giovanni is some baritone. He always had this really wide mouth when he sang. He also
Okay.
did a lot of Tosca. He also did a movie version of Tosca, but Raymond something, he's an Italian guy.
Okay.
He was singing all this shit back then, yeah.
More
I
in my
imagine him.
head was Erwin Schrott.
Yeah, I imagine a more slender guy. But yeah.
But he looks like a Don Giovanni.
Sure.
He looks like a Don Giovanni, and I can't remember who the fuck it was. I don't really know. I don't really know who. It was somewhere close to her.
Yeah.
The only thing, look, let's not get shitty about Rachel's writing. She's doing a really,
I didn't get
really
shitty
good
about
job.
it, man.
I'm
We're
just
going
saying,
for 50 Shades
no,
of
I know.
Grey.
No, wait. What
Right.
I was preempting what I was about to say was the one thing I didn't totally agree with was thin cotton. I don't think of like when she pinched her nipple through the thin cotton, right? Fucking back then they had thick, like burlap sack fucking cotton.
Yeah.
Like big old thick cotton, and I imagine her having to find a nipple before she has to pinch it.
I see,
That's
I see.
the only thing. Look,
Yeah.
I'm being a dick, I know.
Yeah.
I didn't write it.
I don't know much about the cotton of the time period that Bizet wrote Carmen in. I can't really speak to this subject, but I'll have to. If somebody knows about the cotton manufacturing of this part of
Someone write it
Spain in fucking the time of Carmen.
Man, do I feel like a dick,
Right,
though?
listen,
Do
I just
feel
don't
a
feel
dick,
like
though?
her nipples could have poked through the cotton of that day. You got to understand, like that's what you say, man. Like,
Man, I feel
Like
bad.
the ceramic
I'm sorry.
appeal.
I'm sorry, Rachel.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
mean to. I didn't.
Yeah.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah.
You're right. What the fuck do I know about cotton of that day? It's my imagination. It's my imagination.
I also like how you were more shocked that he would fuck the bride and her mother, but fucking the bride and her husband was like, like not surprising at
People
all.
do that all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like more people will go if they're the right age.
I guess that's true.
Wrong
You have-
sex, but still attractive.
Yeah.
Don't knock it till you tried it, sort of thing.
Yeah, no,
But
I mean
if you
that's
got a mother in old Spanish mama,
yeah. Yeah,
those,
okay.
they didn't.
No, I'm not even talking
They
about
didn't age well.
I'm not even talking about a sexual preference thing because like it's pretty public knowledge that John Giovanni was just like about sex, right? That's what Leporello's song is whole about. Like big, small, like old, young, doesn't fucking matter, right? He wants to fuck anything. But for me, I guess you're right. I guess to fuck a couple is way more realistic than to fuck a mother-daughter. That's
Fuck a
not
mother-daughter.
actually gonna happen, right? And not on the wedding day. That's a pretty hard time, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was. No, the mother was the one that got me. The mother
right.
one really.
We got to end this. Mike and I are going long because we don't have to record a second one today, but we got the live streams. We better save our energy. So listen, hopefully that got some of you turned on, I don't know, quarantine.
Keep them coming, Rachel. If anybody else has some fucking entries into this, where's the border? Where's the
Yeah, someone send
Where's the
one
line?
like with let's do Musetta and Papageno, right? Someone do one of those, Birdman and her.
Doesn't even
who
have
else
to be,
we got?
Yeah, I enjoy the crossing of worlds. By the way,
Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Like let's do fucking Monostatos and the witch from Hansel and Gretel.
how about Salome and Wotan?
Yeah.
Or wait, no, we can go better than that. What about? God damn it!
Weird couples.
Yeah, what about the Count?
Yeah.
Count Almaviva from Le Nozze di Figaro
Okay.
and Alberich.
Yeah. What about Parpignol and Pamina?
At least you got the alliteration in there.
Let's
That
give
was good.
some backstory to Parpignol, Pound, and Pamina. All right, we gotta stop.
I
This is
feel like
getting
we
weird.
should. Whatever.
All right. So this went
Fuck
off
you
the
guys,
rails there
see
at the end, but we'll see you 2 weeks. Sponsors, we'll see you
Do you
tomorrow
see
for the live
abrupt
strut.
We were talking about earlier the music coming to abrupt end.